Hey, welcome to Traffic Keys. I've got two tips for you if you're running a WordPress site that will help your SEO rankings. Hey, I am Atiba and welcome again to Traffic Keys. If you're a business owner looking to drive traffic to your website to increase your online sales and increase your online presence, then this is the place to be because I teach you how to do that organically using search engines and search results. Now, today we're jumping into WordPress. Why WordPress? Because honestly, it's the largest platform out there called a content management system. Okay. A CMS is what it's called for building websites. Most of the world's sites are built on WordPress by a long shot. Sorry, Wix. Sorry, all those other guys. WordPress. Okay. Obviously, there's a whole in the e-commerce space, a whole lot of people in Shopify as well. Heck, even I have Shopify websites, so there is a place for them. But WordPress is huge. So I wanted to touch on this because chances are, I believe, most of you probably have WordPress sites or at least considered having a WordPress website. Okay. And there are two things that you can do inside of WordPress that will greatly affect your search engine rankings. All right. As a matter of fact, without one of them, you're not going to rank. And with both of them, you have a much better chance of ranking. And stick around for the end because I'm also going to introduce you to one single tool that actually can accomplish both of these things for you inside of WordPress. Okay. So now, if you're catching this on a replay, go ahead and hit put replay. If you are a WordPress user, if your site is built on WordPress or you're considering using WordPress for your website, put WordPress in the comments for me. And if you're on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button so you get more of the content. On Facebook, check my group or my page. They're both called Traffic Keys on Facebook as well. Okay, so that we can connect. And if you've got questions about any of this or anything related to organic search engine optimization, SEO, I'm your guy. Ask your question. I've got a ton of answers for you. So now let's jump into these two tips that I have for you today. Okay, now tip number one, and this is the most important thing. This is the most important thing because I can't tell you how many sites I see that don't have this. And without this, you're pretty much dead in the water. Okay. And that is a sitemap.xml. Sitemap.xml. Now, what is a sitemap.xml? Well, a sitemap was what we call it for short. Okay, it's not the old school. If you remember from 15 years ago, there used to be and some sites still have it at the bottom of their site. It was like clicked for my sitemap and it showed you all the links on the site. That's not what I'm talking about. A sitemap.xml is a special file that lives on your website that no human really ever sees. And it exists there for Google and other search engines that have bots, little robots that come and are actually crawling through your site to learn what you're about. The first thing they do, one of the first things they do, is they go and they find your sitemap.xml because they want to see what the structure of your website is. And if you don't have one, you're telling them you don't care about the structure of your website. And if you're telling them you don't care about the structure of your website, then subtly you're also telling them you don't have to care about the structure of my website. And guys, let me be honest with you and tell you, I have helped so many businesses, and I'm talking about big businesses now. I've helped so many business owners who have had these wonderful websites and no sitemap. And then we add a sitemap and all of a sudden they start ranking. Without it, you're not going to rank. With it, you increase your odds tremendously. So you're probably asking, which is a probably very fair question. Dude, I don't know if I have a sitemap.xml. How would I know that? I didn't develop my website. How the heck am I supposed to figure that out? Well, in the comments today, I've got a link for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay. This is SEO Site Checkup, and it's got a bunch of free tools, guys, that you can use. All right. Now, I'll be honest with you, their free tools overall aren't that great. They're okay. All right, they're really basic and they're okay, but this is worth the price of admission. So I'm just going to put in a website here, cupcakedropoff.com, and into their sitemap test, and I'm going to click checkup. And when I do, what it's going to do, oh, I guess it's not going to do it for me. It was funny. I was preparing for this and I did. So clearly, we just learned something. They're only going to let you do a few of these a day, and I had already done some in preparation for this video. Anyway, let me just tell you what's going to happen. When you put in your URL in here and you hit checkup, it's going to take a couple minutes. It's going to go out and test, and it'll either come back and tell you that you passed or you failed the test of having a sitemap. If you pass the test, then great, you pass. If you fail the test, then you failed, and it means your site does not have a sitemap. And if your site does not have a sitemap, guys, then that's a problem. Okay? That is a problem. And you need to get a sitemap, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Like I said, I've got a tool that will help you do this, do both of the tips that I'm about to talk to you about. Okay? So that's the first one. You must have a sitemap.xml. And I just showed you the tool, and the link is down below. Just don't do what I did, which is run it a couple of times before you do a video and then have it fail because they want you to pay. But you can do, I think it's maybe 1 or 2 tests per day or something like that, because I did 2 earlier in testing out their free tools. And that's what, now I guess the third one is when they kicked me out. So that's number 1. You go and you test. Do I have a sitemap? If you do, gold. If you don't, problem. Okay. Now, if you do have a sitemap, then you have to make sure that your sitemap is submitted to Google, which we'll do in another video, and I'll walk you through that entire process, but not today. Okay. Not today. But that's number 1. Okay. We got number 1. You must have a sitemap.xml. Number 2, and this one is a little bit more subtle, and well, let me just jump in and tell you. It's breadcrumbs. You remember breadcrumbs? You know what breadcrumbs are on your website? Let me give you an example really quick. Okay. I'm going to jump over here, and this is B&H Photo. So we're actually where I buy quite a bit of photo gear and stuff. But I want you to look at the website that they have here. And underneath all of their nav bar and everything, right down here in their masthead image, they have home and then professional video. That's a breadcrumb. And now if I go click on digital cine cameras or anything else in here, so if I click on digital cine cameras here, you'll see now the breadcrumb has changed to home, professional video, digital cine cameras. Why is that important? Well, in your sitemap, you told the search engine, you told Google, here is my hierarchy, here are all my web pages, and here's how they're all laid out, okay, in terms of the hierarchy. What your sitemap does is when the bot searches your site, it finds this sitemap, and now it's seeing that hierarchy play out. So it's just giving another signal that ding, 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 yep, we've got a match, and it's syncing those things up. The other thing that it does, and this is the more important one, Google, the way the Google brain, if you will, of search works is it's always learning. And it's constantly learning new things and trying to figure out how it relates to other things that it knows. Okay. And the way it does that is it says, okay, here is a trusted source. And this trusted source talked about this topic. But then while talking about this topic, they talked about all of these other subtopics. Okay. And because this is a trusted source, we're going to believe the computer, the Google search brain, we're going to believe that these subtopics are related to this main topic. That's the way Google thinks, and that's the way it learns. So it's always looking for those relationships. So if B&H Photo, which is a big photo outlet online, has a hierarchical structure of professional video and digital cine cameras, all right? But then on your site, you have professional photo and digital cine cameras. Well, Google's going to say your hierarchy seems wrong. That doesn't seem right because we trust them over here for whatever reason we trust them. We trust them over here and they say this, but you're saying this. That doesn't make sense. However, when over here, B&H is saying, here's my hierarchy of my products and my pages, and you as well, if you're selling photo cameras and video cameras, if you're mimicking that same hierarchy in your breadcrumb sequence, Google gets another signal that you know what you're talking about. That's the bigger reason for doing the breadcrumbs. Because in setting up that logical hierarchy, you're also showing Google that yes, what you know and what you believe is the hierarchy of my industry, I'm agreeing with you, which means that you can trust me more. And that's a huge thing for Google. They've got to be able to trust the information that you are putting out. And this is just another way to do that. Okay. So if your site has breadcrumbs right now, fantastic. If your site does not have breadcrumbs right now, you may want to consider adding them. Now, I promised you something, and so I am going to deliver. There is one tool in WordPress. There is one tool in WordPress that actually can do both of these things for you and a whole lot more when it comes to SEO. Now, full disclosure, I am not an affiliate for this product. So if you go click the link in the description, and if you add it to your WordPress site and you start using it and you get their premium version, which I strongly suggest, it's only $89 a year. If you get their premium version, I won't make a penny, not a single penny, nothing. I am not an affiliate, so I'm telling you this. And that tool is Yoast. Yoast. Yoast is they have a free version that you can install on your website that does a lot of basic SEO features for you. I don't remember, honestly, if the breadcrumb feature is one of the things that you can add in the free version, but I do know it's just a couple points and clicks and it adds breadcrumbs into your website. However, the sitemap is something that it does for free for you. You can go right now into your plugins in Yoast and into your plugins in WordPress and add Yoast, go through their setup, and you will have a sitemap right away built. That's what you're looking for. You want a sitemap, and they even add the additional bonus, which is very important, that as you change your site, as you add new pages or new content to your site, it updates the sitemap in real time. That is vitally important because the last thing you want is an outdated sitemap, right? So if you're using WordPress and not using Yoast right now, stop and go install the plugin Yoast. Set it up. You will thank me later for it, even the free version. Okay. If you don't want to pay the $89 right now, fine. Get the free version. It will help you a ton just right now, right where you are. All right. Now, last thing I'm going to say on WordPress, and this is a bonus tip for helping your SEO, do not become plugin happy. If you are in WordPress and you've got a ton of plugins, when I say a ton of plugins, I mean over 20 plugins running on your website right now, you got a problem. You're plugin happy. Plugins will slow your website down, which will affect your SEO dramatically. Absolutely dramatically. So if you are using a ton of plugins, you got to find a way to streamline those down and cut them down as much as possible. All right, guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, drop me a comment. Let me know. If you've got a question, let me know. Very simply, the two tips that I gave you today. Number one, make sure that you have a sitemap.xml running on your website. And that's not just for WordPress, it's for any website that you have. Every website must have a sitemap.xml. And then secondly, the breadcrumbs. Install breadcrumbs on your website as soon as possible. It will help with your SEO rankings. And if you are on WordPress, get that plugin Yoast, because it will do both of those plus a ton more for you very, very easily with just a couple points and click and no real technical knowledge. You don't even need a developer. All right. Okay, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great day.